Hey everyone, this is Tina McGlynn with Life and Stories, and I have another episode with you. And there's something about California people because we just talked to somebody from California the other day, and this time I have Daniella Platt all the way from Los Angeles. And Danielle and I met at Forbes Riley Media Mastery class, which was so cool. I've learned so much. But Daniella, why were you there?
Well, why was I there? Because I'm addicted to Forbes Riley. But that particular day was off the hook. I mean, it was like, can you top this? I have a tragedy. Who could top the tragedy even more? And I'm just sitting there like, is this really happening? Like, I'm watching people try to top each other with tragic stories, murder, death, killing, drugs. I'm like, is this even happening? And the side chat was going on. I'm like, the side chat was all about like, I'm moving to Boca, you live in Hollywood. The side chat was all like lovely, beauty, nice, and like murder, death, drugs, killing. I'm like, why am I there? Because it's crazy. It's a crazy show. It is unbelievable to be there. Everybody needs to be there. That's my. Why am I truly there? I think a lot of people in Forbes Riley's class are there for probably the same reason. We're hungry. We're hungry for the best of ourselves, the best people mindset of like being in that. I mean, she makes you like come out of your seat, that moment where you can come out of your seat and you do it with other people and everybody's going through this.
And cheerleaders, right? Instant cheerleaders.
And you feel really good. And it's this high that you get. And that's why I'm there. And that's why I've been there since August. I was one of the early ones. I didn't even know this was taking place.
Okay.
So that's why I was there. It was awesome. And I'm so glad I got to meet you. And thank you for sharing. And thank you for mentioning about your podcast and that we get to share our stories on it.
Yeah. So tell me, on the corner there, I want to know about Jungle Feel Ferocious. Tell me about that. Come on now.
Yeah. Right. This is the bot of Feeling Ferocious. So it actually goes back to Forbes Riley. So just to kind of backtrack. So I'm Daniella Platt, and I've always been known to be a connector and full of energy. And for like 20 years, I built brands. I built other people's businesses.
Okay.
I never had my own though. I was always the type, like I'd say like, hey, Tina, sure, let me build your business. I never had my own. So about Jungle and Coffee is what you're referring to. It actually came out of Forbes Riley's media mastery and OPP classes. Through a girlfriend of mine, her name is Inga Goodman. She said to me, let's create something for the Excelli Gala. So I've been in the business of fashion, lifestyle, building people's brands for so many years. And like I said, I never had my own. I had this dream. I always wanted to create something that had a mission and a purpose. And going back to my roots, where as much as like I had a lot of friends growing up, I never fit in. I cannot tell you for the life of me why. And my sense of self and my sense of my, like a level of confidence, I just didn't have it.
That surprises me.
Really?
Yeah.
I like myself now, but then I didn't know where I fit in. I'm from Long Island. I'm from Woodmere, Long Island. I live in Los Angeles. It took 20 years to figure out, where do I fit in? But in the process, I learned to just like my life. And I am a creative junkie, a creative connoisseur. I call myself a creative connoisseur. So I kind of have like a really good nose for like other people's awesome. I love when people spread their awesome, and I'm interested in other people's awesome, but I never really created anything for myself, but I really wanted to. And this collection that you're looking at. So my friend Ingo was like, let's create something for Forbes Gala. And it kind of started off with like, well, what's a mantra that we both believe in? I specialize in brands and promotional apparel, and she's a designer. I actually have it right here. We made the scarf that you could kind of see in that little corner.
Oh, yeah. So now, tell me, I've got to know, when people make stuff like that, what is the first step? Like, how does that even happen? Is that like, do you have to use software to design something like that first? Is that what you do?
Yeah. So the story is, and are we actually videoing this as well, or is it just audio?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so my videos will be on Zoom. Absolutely. Or Zoom. My Zoom videos will be on YouTube.
Okay, cool. So then people will see it. So the short story is, and I actually have an article about it. So the short story is that this features spirit animals. Okay. And it totes messages like stop playing small. And the theory behind Jungle is that like life can be a jungle, but you are here not to survive. You are here to thrive. So like, what do you need? Can I be your guide in the jungle? The jungle is your playground. Go kill it. Let me see you at the top. You're here to play. So, you know, you're not here to play small. You're here to play big so you could have it all.
Love it.
And I have to remember sometimes I am the wolf. I am here. I'm intuitive. I'm instinctive. I can get it. And I don't know, do you have a spirit animal? I don't know if that's, but I really believe like it makes people feel energized. And this particular design is fueled with like other pieces of novelty. Like it has a hammer, because as a designer, as an artist, the same hammer can create something as it can destroy something.
Wow.
It's got coffee on here because that's what we need to get into our highest vibe. That's how this started. It became a scarf. And to answer your question, it started off as a scarf. And I have an article out. I wrote a book on it. It's 3 ways anybody can have a fashion collection, 10 Commandments to be a sales rock star. The book is called Looking Good. It's on Amazon. And I have an article about it this month in the Fashion Manuscript. But the process of actually, this is what I do. I mean, the process of actually putting your art on material, there's 3 different ways anybody can have an apparel line. And the first is manufacturing. The second would be like private label. And the third would be doing something like this, where you create art. And in this case, it's called blank apparel. I work with you create your art, and you pretty much, this work was done with a screen printer.
So awesome.
So this is done with a screen printer. They just take our art and they put it on the material. And that's how we made these. So this is made with eco water-based dye, and it's 100% USA cotton. So, wow. And as much as possible, like if it's possible, I try to work with women-owned facilities. If it's possible, I try to use sustainable materials. I really just, people talk a lot about sustainability. I just believe that do the best you can, but if you can create something amazing. Yeah. And what happened was, so this goes in this goes in Forbes Riley's gift basket. This was in December. Forbes gets it, and she's like, oh my God. And then everybody, I'm watching a Zoom screen. So here's the thing, watching a Zoom screen of people wearing a message that they hold close to their heart was incredible. People all around the world were united by one message, by a message of unity and community. So that's really what I tell people. If you brands and promotional apparel is incredible, because this is like give yourself a hug.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is your real estate.
Yeah.
So, I tell everybody, like, t-shirts matter because you're giving somebody love. Yeah. They're going to feel amazing. And in times of darkness, slogans are really popular.
Well, we need something. You know what I mean? We need something after the year we've all been through.
Totally. Bandanas are your new sneakers.
Oh, I like that.
Bandanas are your new sneakers, the new hat. You want to wear something, and it makes people feel amazing. And I think that's kind of the mission. So on one hand, you're making people feel amazing. You're going to be in people's homes forever. People will remember you. And here we are, we're still talking about it. So I think that's pretty cool, that if you design something, people will still talk about it. And then if it's broadcast globally, which, this is going to be on now our YouTube. So the cool thing is that it does stand the test of time. So I encourage everybody to take advantage of promotional and branded apparel. So that's how all of this began. So what I do is I just put people's logos on it.
Tell me about the And Coffee.
Oh, okay.
You're like, oh, yeah. So we've got jungle. I get that. Ferocious. I get that. But then we have And Coffee. Tell me about that.
Okay. The And Coffee part. Yeah. It's sort of, sometimes I think a lot of businesses become backed into things. Okay. And it's really it's sort of weird how, all right. So here's how it manifested. I love coffee. Okay. And I really thought when we created this, what is it that people need to get into their highest vibe? And I think everybody out there is like, just get me a cup of coffee. Like you could do anything over a cup of coffee. I mean, Here we are, we were joking around. We're sitting on this Zoom chat, and we're all around the world, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Peru. And we're like, here we are, it's like, we called it like, it could be the UN, it could be world peace. We're solving world peace right now because we're all here under screens, and we're in unity because we're wearing the same scarf. Just let's have a cup of coffee. I really believe that that's something that brings people together. It brings unity and community, and it truly helps people soak up their highest vibe. A cup of coffee is all it takes to really get people to talk. So
good. No, I
that's how
get
we
that. The
became.
coffee shop, obviously now the Starbucks, those are meeting places where people come together. I totally get that analogy. Yeah, I love it.
So then
I love it.
something really funny happened, and it wasn't planned, but we're starting a show. And the
Okay.
show is going to be looking good. And I was like, I want a co-host. And I started, putting feelers out. And I actually have a co-host, and he teaches at FIT in New York. He's really a fun guy, and his name is Terrence Coffee. So
You gotta be kidding me.
So our show is called Looking Good with Daniella and Tea Coffee, and it has nothing at all to do with my collection. So it just has, and he's calling me right now. But it just has nothing to do with it at all. So, when I promote now, like Jungle and Coffee, it's totally different than Terrence Coffee, but that's the show. And so this goes back to like the whole concept of manifestation, like the ironies of it's in the silence. It's in between the lines. Like this was not planned. It would never be anything that would be obvious, but the way that it rolled out is kind of really funny. And you just kind of have to pay attention to that little nuance because it must have been planned somewhere else.
Yep. So I'm a metaphysical follower. So I am such a firm believer in fate, in happenstance, and you're in the moment for a reason. And when bad things happen to you, it hurts for a little bit, but there's always a reason. And when good things happen, like that was your moment. And I love the manifestation. I've stepped away from manifesting because of things in my life. And that's the thing is you have to keep manifesting, even if, you just have to get back to it, even at small levels. And look at you. I mean, I love, Jungle and Coffee with Terrence Coffee. I mean, it's just, that it just, the world aligned,
It completely aligned in two completely different purposes, but they actually work together. So I'm so happy because so now I have like, I'm married. So like there's pillows and there's t-shirts and there's handbags, but it's not about the product. People will call me up and just say like, their couch just makes them empowered. I didn't know that this world existed. I grew up saying prayers. Prayers to me were in Hebrew. The words didn't have any meaning to me. I would sit in the back of the synagogue and just either talk to my friends and be told to shh, or just say a word. And they had no meaning to me at all. So to me, prayer is something that people would feel really connected to prayer, but I never felt any power at prayer. To me, prayer was a place where I was being scolded or a place where I felt completely disconnected. When I started to actually learn the words, I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. So what I find is that these words, see you at the top, I feel abundant, I'm prepared, every day has prepared me for today, I'm dynamic. I really find that these words truly like fill my soul and they make me feel good. Even just the queen of everything. That one's my favorite with a little puppy dog over there. I'm totally mirror image right now. But I really believe that like I feel it so deeply in my heart when I say them. I really believe that other people feel it too. That we go through so much tragedy, we go through so much just exhaustion, and so many people. Imposter syndrome is shockingly rampant among some of the most well-respected celebrities. We just need to rise up, and we need to just be our ferocious, best, outrageous self. You got this. Play big. We're limitless. And this has been my credo. It's been my mantra. And it's just a real gift to be able to take the art and heart into the world. And it makes people feel good. So I'm so happy to have that.
No, I like that. But, besides Jungle and Coffee, do you have anything else going on? I do believe you're an author.
Oh, yeah. I have to run over there. I do. So I did write a book. So I have been in, I think there's one day where there's a lot of times people ask you the same questions and you find yourself repeating them a lot.
Okay.
So I never knew, this goes back to like limitations, not realizing all the things that people can do. And what I want people to know through my collection and through, you can be and do anything.
Yeah. Yes.
I did not know that. I thought John Grisham wrote books.
I love his books, but they're a little formulaic now. I mean, you can almost predict the end now because he has the formula and they're almost not exciting anymore.
I know, right? And you read a book, you're like, that was another one. What was that one about? So I thought, Jack Canfield, he writes like books. And you see these books when you go to the airport and they're bestseller books. They've sold millions of copies. I thought that's what writing a book was. I did not know that a girl who works, I joke, I work in swimsuits, I work in underwear, I did not know the girl who builds fashion and lifestyle brands for advertising agencies and fashion magazines, she could write a book. It didn't occur to me. And I went to one of these events where on stage, they were talking about, we're going to write your book. And we were just talking about this. 50% of it probably lives in your computer. Yeah. What is your book even about? And I don't, well, what do people ask you all the time? So people were asking me two questions. I was always able to manifest relationships with anybody. So how did you do that? How did you meet somebody? Well, I thought about it and I started coaching people. Well, just open the door and say hi and ask these questions. And before I knew it, I developed what was called the 10 Commandments to be a sales rock star.
Okay.
And so I turned that into a book, but it's really like a 10 commandment playbook of 10 ways to open up the door for, so I'm on a podcast.
Oh yeah, I know. Did you hear my dog bark? I'm like, I wanted to say, shut up, dog. I'm on a podcast.
I share an office with my husband now.
Really cool. Tell him that this is girl time because it is International Women's Day. I do believe, right? Today? What's today?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is International.
I know
Women's
I've
Day.
lost track, and I'm talking with a real powerful woman. So this event you went to, was it specifically for people who want to write a book?
No, so
okay.
it was like a Forbes rally. It was kind of one of these. It was a business event to like whether you wanted a life coach, any type of coach, any type of business. It was just a business event. Okay. But I signed up, and anybody could write a book. And I was like, really? So here's just a couple of things I learned was like 50% of your book already exists in your computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your book is really about what it is that you've learned in your life. That's one or two other people might have asked you questions about. That's what you can offer. It's really for that. That's your target, who you want to talk to. You need an awesome cover. You need an awesome cover.
Okay.
And now I have to go grab my book. And lastly, like when you hit 100 pages, drop your pencils, like your book is done.
Okay.
And the difference, number 6, the difference between a book versus a pamphlet, let's say, is a spine.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So all the time, like that's really the difference. Like a book needs to have a spine, and because then they can print your name on it. And once you have a book, writing a book for me changed my entire life. It was so exciting. I put it out there. I was constantly asked the same 2 questions. Hey, how did you manifest relationships? So that's when I came up with the 10 Commandments to be a sales rock star, and it has scripts to open doors and just make yourself sound a little glittery and glowy. So it has scripts to open doors. And then the other part of it is the fashion startup playbook, because people were asking me, hey, you work in fashion. How can I have a collection?
Oh, okay.
Well, you can. And there's 3 ways anybody can have a collection. You can work with me. I'll show you how, or let me at least give you the knowledge and the tools so you could grow. So I wrote the book on it because people were asking me, and it was really exciting. So it hit bestseller. And then I went on like a bunch of podcasts and I was talking to people about it. And I think the purpose was like when you're sitting on so much information, at least for me, I was sitting on so much information and people were constantly asking me, fashion is exciting. People want to know about it. You were sharing
your knowledge.
I was sharing my knowledge, and it was a book. And I put it out there in the world because these weren't tools for me to keep when other people can achieve. Yeah. And I just saw that happen, and people were just getting so excited, and it was really exciting to be able to help people activate and achieve their goals, their wins.
No, I love that because I don't have any competitors in any of my businesses. I always a firm believer in helping, whether it's CBD, whether it's accounting, whether it's taxes, whether it's, my nonprofit, whatever it is. I never believe I have competitors. I used to always tell people back when CBD was new, I rather help the competitor have the right business model. So it's just easier for those of us in the same business. Same with any knowledge you have. Wouldn't you rather share the knowledge because it just lifts people up? And I think that just makes that market sector better. That, you
It
have
is
people
true.
not doing it the wrong way.
It is true. It's definitely true. And I also just really enjoy helping people, like they can get on their pathway. So a lot of times people will say, like, I have an idea, where do I go? And I could give them the 5 showrooms they need to go to, or the suppliers, the manufacturers, the resources. But taking people and seeing other people flourish is one of the most exciting things that you could give to somebody, because they don't know how. And then all of a sudden you see the results. So that's actually my favorite piece of it, is that you could drive results. But the secret thing is I'm a creative hog. Like, I don't have the tool. A lot of designers, their brilliance overtakes me. Like, I'm the strategy, business development, I have my own collection, but I don't have this, like, I could never be a Chanel, but they're so amazing in what they do that I just love to be able to tell their story, tell their mission. I want to make sure that their art gets seen in the world, and that they know how to manifest the right relationships to be able to make that available to people.
Yeah, make that happen. Because there are people that I run, as a business consultant, because that's when I left my corporate job, that's pretty much what I was doing. And I even say on my website that I meet so many people who have great ideas, great, services, and they don't know where to start, and they don't know how to develop a business. And, I love helping predominantly women do that. And I agree with you that fear is probably in my world, the number one setback. People are afraid to get out of their comfort zone and to develop a business. And I tell people, if you work a job, you're a W-2, that's fine. Start your dream part-time and then ease into it as it becomes more successful. Because I do realize that there are people who have brilliant ideas that may have family, may have whatever financial constraints due to their, relationships, either with parents or kids, but you can still have that side hustle. And then if you're really lucky and things go really well, it becomes a full-time hustle. But I tell my son all the time, I don't care what you do for a living, but if you love it, right, it's never a job.
I also say that the grit is the love before the glamour. So especially when I started off in advertising, like it was billboards. How excited can you possibly be about putting a billboard in Iceland? It's the grit behind the glamour. Anytime somebody, and people love running production, but like anytime, if you ever watch behind the scenes of like if you're in LA downtown, if you go to any of these factories, they're not glamorous at all. They are gritty. They are working fast. There's boxes everywhere. There's bubble tape, and they're not like filthy, but they're machinery. They're sewing kits. The lighting is dim. Not everything looks new and slick. There are some places that are very state of the art, but even state of the art needs to be kept up. Something that's 10 years old eventually starts to not look as sleek as some of the new machinery.
Yeah.
It's not so glamorous. It is the grit that you have to love. It is that journey to the finished products. The finished product, once it goes, once it's off, it's out of your hands. You have to love that grit. Yeah, then there's the other side. There's the other side of like publicists and salespeople. They're on the glamour side.
Yeah.
But you have to love that grit.
Yeah. Well, you've got to do the hard work. It doesn't, I laugh about all these, rooms where, you're on Clubhouse, right?
Yeah.
All those rooms, how to make a billion, how to make a million. I'm just like, the noise, and there's nothing wrong with thinking large and thinking big, not at all. But unfortunately, I'm the person like, what good are you doing with all that money, and how much money could someone really have, and what do you do with it all? And I prefer people to, be the angel investor and be the startup king or queen, and take your riches and help another person, because I think it just makes a better world. We can't have innovation without investing,
Right.
And so, I don't think that we would be stagnant. So, someone like you who is willing to share your knowledge and help other people, manifest their art or their design or whatever it is, we need a lot more of that. We need a lot of more people, willing to share their resources. But any last words? What can you tell us? What's in the future for you?
It's really exciting. This goes back to the topic of being limitless.
Yeah.
I didn't know that people could write books, but I managed to write a book. I had a car accident about 1.5 years ago, and it was really confusing. I don't really know what happened. I was going towards Santa Monica, so I'm driving west, and I don't know where the other car came from, but that moment, I know nobody should be sideswiped to realize that they want to change things in their life and that things are a little bit out of balance. Yeah. But for me going forward, I truly believe to be limitless. And I truly believe that it's so important to like align with people who are going to raise you up. So always, I just really believe like those are my core beliefs, to actually make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who lift you up. So going forward, I'm going to continue with the Jungle collection. Yay. So how I do it is I really think that everybody can have a fashion or apparel collection. And I could do it for you guys in a day. I just put your logo and your message, you pick your color, and you could have a pillow, a t-shirt, a bag, and you put it in my store or you put it on your store. And then all of a sudden you have your own collection. And it's really great for like influencers and coaches and small business owners. So that way I take the headache away from you. We do all that like private label. And then I teach, and then we have our show starting. The show, hopefully you'll come on.
Oh God, absolutely. I love talking.
So you can be there, my wingman. So yeah, the show is Looking Good with Daniella and Tea Coffee. It's all about creatives. We do it all despite it all. Creatives really struggle. And when has a creative ever really done with their masterpiece? Never. It's just deadline time. Like you got to go now, tomorrow you can recreate. So we want to bring in the show is to inspire people to go and behave in their zone of genius.
I love that.
To keep creating. Yeah. So anybody can find out all the details, whether you're interested in Jungle and coffee, or I have 3 ways anybody could have a fashion line. They could grab the starter guide. That's free. They can get anything they want. If it's okay with you, it's at Daniella.today. Get on the show. 3 ways anybody can have 3 ways anybody can have a collection, or check out Jungle and Coffee. But be limitless. That's kind of my message to everybody. I grew up with like feeling limited all the time, and you don't have to be. You could be and do anything. Hopefully you'll come on the show, and we could, everybody should tote messages of strength and empowerment. I want to lift people up.
I love that. I do. And yes, you let me know and tell me, what I can bring to the table, and you love it. But well, thank you so much, Daniella, for coming on.
Thank you, Tina. This is exciting.
When I posted this on YouTube, I posted a video on YouTube and on Life and Stories Facebook page. I'll make sure that I have all of Daniella's information, that you can reach out to her right below the post. And hey, so this has been another episode of Life and Stories. And today we were talking with Daniella Platt's story. And, hey, you guys reach out to me next time. Reach out to Daniella. She's got a lot to offer. And see you on the next episode. Thanks for listening, everyone. As I always say, have a great day. Bye.